Hi, Jay Coe here at the SuperReturn Emerging Markets Conference 2014 in lovely Amsterdam, the Netherlands. And I work as a partner and managing director for Siguler Guff, a $10 billion asset allocating and investing alternatives platform that invests globally, and over $3.5 billion of which is in the emerging markets context. I'm happy to be here today with Jim Hildebrandt from Bain Capital. Give a little bit of background on the firm and the fund itself, and then we'll roll into a few questions following our conversation earlier this afternoon on the Asia panel.
Thanks, Jay. I'm Jim Hildebrandt. I'm with Managing Director with Bain Capital in Hong Kong. We have a regional fund covering the entire Asia region with a focus on China, Japan, and India.
Thanks, Jim. Well, earlier today we talked a little bit about the current private equity landscape, both from the point of view of competition and valuation. So if you can just comment, given your presence in the region overall, where do you think valuations are today when you're looking at existing transactions you've done and also the pipeline?
That's a good question. I really think that valuations in Asia right now are very attractive. I think that we've seen valuations go up quite a bit in Western markets in Europe and the United States, and now we're seeing still pretty reasonable valuations in Asia, particularly when you take into account growth. So a lot of the deals are being done single-digit valuations with easily double-digit growth, sometimes more than 20%.
So there's been a little bit of a drop recently in fundraising for Asia and overall emerging markets private equity. Do you think that will contribute to a continuing environment where valuations remain attractive?
I think that's right. I think the market's come off a little bit over the last 2 or 3 years in terms of overall volume of deals and dollars in terms of scale of the market. There's been a little bit of consolidation, which I think is probably good for the market and certainly good for valuations.
So the question in emerging markets is always like kind of where the puck is going next. In terms of priority and focus, as you think about allocating your own human capital, origination resources, and so on, in terms of geographies, where would you put the next emphasis when you think about it from the Bain Capital perspective?
Well, China and Japan have always been the most important markets for us, and then we subsequently started up in India. So I would say those 3 markets are kind of our core markets across the region. I think there's more potential now in China to expand further. China is probably long-term the largest market and the one with the largest number of opportunities. I'd also say for us, Japan has been a great market. Japan offers really unique chances for profit improvement, opportunities to recapitalize companies, produce cash flow early, and still grow companies fairly attractively.
We have about $1.5 billion deployed in China and have recently done some investing with some funds and looking for co-investment in Indonesia and Southeast Asia. Do you have a perspective on the Southeast Asia region?
We're also looking at Southeast Asia. For us, it's been primarily Malaysia and Singapore, but we do look across Southeast Asia. I think it can be attractive. The deal size there is relatively small,
right?
So it's been tough to find large opportunities to get done.
One thing we commented at the tail end of our session today was on the political environment. There's been a number of transitions recently. I'm just wondering what you think the macro situation has been from a geopolitical perspective and what it means for potential private equity investment going forward in the region.
Yes, I think the macro perspective is really excellent. We've had a change in government in China, in Japan, in India, and actually Australia relatively recently also. All very progressive governments focused on positive business opportunities, and in some cases looking longer term and doing things, I think, for the markets which really help to restructure it and take us forward for long-term growth. So I think these are all attractive changes in government.
Terrific. If we look at the timing of the kind of current set of investments, valuation levels, and then looking forward at what you think is going to be a more benign political risk environment and progressive government environment, on a scale of 1 to 10, looking at vintage transactions 2014, 2015, 1 being absolutely abysmal, depth of the financial crisis, attempt to exit, and 10 being total nirvana, 5x, 10x kind of funds, amazing returns, infinite capital, where would you put this potential vintage in the recent range of activity?
Yeah, I'd have to give it a pretty high number. I think right now we are seeing still very, very strong growth. Most of the growth in the world will still come from Asia over the next 5 years, and I think valuations are more attractive than they've been for a long time, so I'd give it an 8.
And I have to ask, as a global investor, it's the time of the World Cup. Do you have a winner that you'd like to call at this point in time, early in the conference?
I don't think I should say that probably, but I'm supporting a European team. Let's leave it there.
All right, well, we hope the U.S. does well as well. Thank you very much, Jim. Really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Great to be an investor.
Okay.